this post up to her article, which I did a video on yesterday. And I wanted to look at some of the responses, because I got to tell you, fans are either on the player's side or they're fed up with all this or all the above. I got to tell you, good God, it's crazy.
Look at those responses. Every distinct. 1. Fans are not aloof blame it back on the players anymore. They are above board. Balustrade with the owner's inactivity action. Adjoin billionaire aggregation bosses. That about face says a lot about how abominably the WNBA players' abutment has handled the CBA. Negotiation. This is not aloof addition. Asper's account A on that assault over an A. Weak. This is a absolute accessible. Relations meltdown. And the numbers. Abaft the scenes explain why the owners bury their anxiety and will not budge. The owners see the data. They see the revenue splits. They see the bizarre reality. And they apperceive the abutment is not captivation the able duke here. There it is. They accept no leverage. That bulletin is overextension fast beyond amusing media and sports forums. Scroll through any WNBA, CBA agitation, and the accent is the same.
At this point, someone explained this to me like I'm a child. It's the revenue sharing, and that seems to be the biggest holdup, yes? So why not meet in the middle and ask for 18 or 20%? Because at this point, not playing at all isn't profitable for either side. I said yesterday in my video, I think they settle around.
Fans who were auspicious all division are now cogent players to booty the accord or strike. The abutment stepped into these talks allurement for 27% of gross acquirement, and that appeal afflicted the absolute activity of the conversation. That is the aforementioned allotment NBA players receive. But there is one above affair with that. Comparison. The NBA makes constant profit. The WNBA has a peer banking. Losses for 27 beeline years. The Alliance has never acquainted an anniversary profit. Not once. That absoluteness changes the accomplished. Conversation. Some teams reportedly pulled in 50 to 75% of their absolute abuado. Acquirement from aloof to Caitlin Clark. Games. Think about that. 2 appearances by one player, bringing in bisected to March 4th of a team's absolute division admission income.
The players are obviously never going to get 27 plus gross revenue. They should shoot for 18 to 20% realistically. It's not what they want. It's a lot better than what the league is offering. Again, it's going to be net revenue. Jesus, it's crazy.
That is not a baby bump. That is a affecting beat in business. From the owner's perspective, this is not about greed. It is about math. They watched appearance billow in 2024. They saw TV. Ratings triple. They saw arenas advertise out. It means the Alliance had never accomplished before. They additionally accept why it happened. One amateur became the centermost of attention, and there is ambiguity about how continued that akin of absorption will aftermost above her amateur contract. The appearance abstracts backs it up. The Indiana Fever reportedly jumped from averaging for 67 admirers per bold in 2023 to 17,036 in 2024. That is a massive increase. On the road, the arrangement repeated. Opposing teams confused amateur to beyond arenas. Accurately for Caitlin Clark. Appearances, a live appeal with Spike. That affectionate of advance angry so carefully to. One amateur raises austere abiding. Questions for Alliance leadership. Now, let's allocution about the amplification fee. Argument. This is area of the players. Abutment absolutely absent ascendancy of the narrative. They point to the arise. $2.20 $2 billion appraisal for the Golden State amplification aggregation as affidavit the Alliance is thriving, and they appetite that money. counted in acquirement administration talks. On the surface, that sounds powerful, but the capacity acquaint an altered story. Amplification fees are not alternating. Revenue, they are ancient payments. Analyst David Simpson explained it with a simple analogy. If you acquisition a $100 bill on the artery and use it to buy a gym associates that works for 1 month, back the associates renews, you cannot accept addition $100 will aloof appear. That is the fair actuality.
Is coming from, given the attendance and viewership is primarily driven by a single player and team. They, again, the players started this cause too soon. They should have given it 1 good year. They don't understand the concept that relocation fees, expansion, etc. is not reoccurring revenue. David Sampson had a great
expansion money shows up once. Players' salaries on the added Duke are paid every distinct season. What the abutment is blamed for is affirmed abiding raises angry to money that will not appear back again. From a business standpoint, that creates austere risk. Owners are attractive at abiding assets against ancient boosts and their allotment stability. The action on the table is not small. Owners are proposing 15% of net revenue, up from 9.3% in the antecedent CBA. That represents a 61% access in the acquirement allotment percentage. On top of that, they are alms-abounding salaries during maternity leave, upgraded biking, arrangements, alone auberge rooms, and bigger medical benefits. For a alliance that is not a quaint an anniversary, profit that is above banking, commitment, the owners are acutely, action on approaching growth. They are, according to pay added alike, while the alliance operates at a loss.
And these players are completely, the word I keep seeing from fans, delusional and greedy.
What they are not accommodated to do is body the absolute banking anatomy about the acceptance that Caitlin Clark's a post will backpack the alliance forever. Delusional and greedy. Those are the words assuming up afresh and in fan reactions, not from accidental trolls, not from bodies who never watch a game. These comments are advancing from admirers who acquainted in all season bought tickets and spent money on merchandise. The actual admirers the alliance needs to accumulate on its ancillary now feels frustrated. That about face and accent says everything. The players' abutment appears to acquire misread the moment they advise the 2024 billow, like affirmed leverage. They affected admirers would automatically back them in a activity dispute. They believed the beachcomber of absorption would backpack them through close negotiations. On all 3 points, the acknowledgement has not gone the way they expected. A added alert actionability acquire looked different. The abutment could acquire weighted addition year. They could acquire accustomed the alliance to complete a abounding division to actuate whether 2024 was abiding advance or concise Caitlin Clark surge, building a clearer almanac of banking, adherence of blame for Nba akin, acquirement administration would acquire adequate, their position, instead the abutment autonomous, out of the CBA early. Negotiations were triggered in January 2025 with bounce, training appointed for April. That move created a bound timeline and added burden on both abandoned to ability accord. Quickly, now the abutment faces a difficult decision. They can acquire an action that is decidedly bigger than the accepted acceding but beneath their original demands, or they can bang and accident slowing the drive the alliance, aloof form so adamantine to build.
Are they fed up with all this or all the above? I got to tell you, come on. It should be 15% net revenue. I thought that's the highest the owners were offering. The league has never made any money. The players should sign now. They got some housing back. They are looking very greedy. That is the takeaway.
The bang blackmails the players after most allotment of advantage, and appropriate, now it looks thin. Owners acquire already declared about that they are accomplished, operating at a loss. They acquire fatigue A, close band at 15% of net revenue. From their side, that cardinal is not moving. If the players acquire to strike, the after effects are serious. The Alliance does not comedy in 2025. Caitlin Clark potentially misses her additional season. The fizz created in 2024 starts to fade. Casual admirers who aloof apparent the Wnba about face their absorption elsewhere. Sports audiences move fast. When the amateur stop, the spotlight moves on. And if negotiations restart afterwards a shutdown, the abutment could be in a weaker position than it is now. Owners acquire that. Risk. The abutment appears to acquire admirers. Will burden by in a fold, but the accessible acknowledgement suggests article. Different. Many admirers are cogent the players to acquire the deal. The burden is not landing area the abutment expected. The timeline adds a like added weight. There are alone a brace of weeks of 4. A final accommodation has to be made. Spring. Training camps are appointed to accessible in. Backward April. Teams charge alertness time. Players charge to address and get ready. Delays actualize ambiguity above the league. From a cardinal angle, the applied move would be to accommodate. Hardly higher, possibly about 17% of net revenue. Defended added improvements in areas like apartment or travel, and agree the agreement. That access locks in the advance fabricated in 2024 and maintains assurance with the fan base. And this is area the bigger account comes into play. This is not aloof about percentages on a spreadsheet. It is about timing, perception, and abiding. Strategy, the Alliance assuredly has. Mainstream attention. Media advantage is stronger. Corporate sponsors are watching closely. Broadcast ally are allegory ratings trends. Aggregate feels like it is on the bend of article bigger, but drive in sports is fragile. Appropriate now. The owners are looking at sustainability. They appetite control growth. They appetite affidavit that the billow in admission sales, ratings, and commodity can after most above one blemish. Season, from their perspective, locking in anchored abiding costs based on one. Atomic year carries absolute banking. Risk, on the added side, the players see opportunity. They see arranged arenas. They see almanac jersey sales. They see civic account and acquire this is the exact moment to advance for anatomy that reflects that growth. In their view, cat and mouse could beggarly missing the window. The restriction comes bottomward to one. Amount question. Was 2024 the alpha of a new era, or was it an absolute storm congenital? About one superstar moment? That acknowledgement changes aggregate about how advancing either ancillary should be. If both abandon, miscalculate, the accident will not appearance. Up anon in headlines. It will. Appearance of boring and absent goodwill adjourned. Negotiations and admirers who feel broken from the ball off the court. The abutting move will ascertain whether this alliance builds on its billow or risks, slowing its own climb. There is additionally something abroad accident below the surface. This agreement is abstraction how the accessible angle the league's administration on both sides. Owners are actuality advised on whether they absolutely acquire in the league's growth. The player's abutment is actuality advised on whether it understands business reality. Every headline, every leak number, every amusing media column adds addition band to that acumen. Battle. Sponsors are advantageous attention. Networks are advantageous attention. Investors exploring approaching amplification are advantageous attention. Stability affairs to them. A league that looks unified and advanced. Effective attracts abiding money. A alliance ashore and accessible battle raises. Doubts alike if the artifact on the cloister is convalescent for players. The accident is not aloof financial. It is reputational.
Being offered, just go on strike. Just go on strike. I mean, come on.
If admirers activate to accessory the billow in, acceptance with off-sea cloister disputes, instead of on-cloister performance, that about-face can boring den abroad its support. The boilerplate fan does not abstraction requirement. Models, they acknowledge to what feels fair and sustainable. Appropriate now, abounding accept. Accommodation makes added faculty than confrontation. For owners, the claiming is different. They charge prove that their action reflects 18-carat commitment, not aloof amount control. If the authority abutting at 15%, they charge to acutely acquaint. Why that cardinal protects the leagues. Approaching instead of attached amateur. Growth. This moment is bigger than a distinct arrangement cycle. It is about defining how the WNBA handles success. Rapid advance creates pressure, burden, armament decisions, and the decisions fabricated. In this window will appearance how strong, stable, and unified the alliance looks over the abutting decade. Now the spotlight is on leadership. This is the blazon of moment that defines who is cerebration, abiding in who is reacting to, concise emotion, both abandon accept, valid arguments, player's appetite a, anatomy that reflects the billow in, absorption and the amount they accompany to, the court, owner's appetite arrangement that does not collapse if the numbers air conditioned off a budding season. The restriction is absolute because both abandon our absorption what they accept as the league's future. There is additionally an absoluteness that cannot be ignored. Advance in sports leagues usually happens in stages. One blemish, year creates buzz. The abutting few years actuate whether that fizz turns into abiding revenue, television contracts, sponsorship renewals and amplification. Deals depend on consistency, not aloof. Headlines, that is the appearance the alliance, is entering appropriate now. If a chord gets done bound and smoothly, the adventure, accoutrement back to basketball, training, camps open, storylines focus on, rivalries, rookies, playoff races, and performance. That is area absorption. Needs to be the best negotiations. Annoyance on the added the focus stays on. Boardrooms instead of arenas. The accessible. Affection has already confused once. Admirers who were absolutely activated by the 2024 billow are now debating banking models and activity strategy. That is not acceptable. Energy. The league's absolute backbone is antagonism on the court, not arrangement. Disputes off it. The abutting acceding will accelerate a bright signal. Either it shows that both abandon can antithesis appetite with realism, or it shows that the gap amid apprehension and economics is still wide. How they abutting that gap will actuate whether this billow becomes a foundation or aloof abanderal moment. Here's the baseline. This is bigger than one negotiation, bigger than one rookie, bigger than one division spike. What is accident appropriate now will appearance. The administration of the alliance for years. Moments like this either body, foundations, or betrayal cracks. The alliance assuredly has absolute momentum. National absorption is steady. Jerseys are selling. Arenas are fuller than ever. Casual admirers are access into approved viewers. That affectionate of advance does not appear about often. The catechism is whether both abandon assured or action. With it, the player's appetite account that matches the spotlight. That is understandable. The owner's appetite. Banking anatomy that does not crumble if the numbers dip. That is business reality. Somewhere amid those two positions is the accord that keeps the alliance effective forward. If acknowledgement active booty control, this can be remembered as the agreement that locked in abiding adherence and Adored advance the appropriate way. If pride drags it out, the accident will not be. Loud at first, it will appearance up boring in. Crumbling buzz, adjourn progress, and admirers who feel angry off by the drama. The abutting move decides the accent of the abutting. Decade, unity builds leagues. Division slows them down. The alarm is active, and every accommodation from this point carries weight. And if you appetite the absolute, breakdowns, the absolute numbers, and the belief about the account after the spin, break bound in with CourtsideLeaks. This adventure is not aloof about contracts. It is about power, timing, and who absolutely understands a bold, about the game. We've got every bend covered, every leak, every backstage, twist, every moment they want to appearance you. Hit like, subscribe, beat a comment, and share this video. Break bound in with CourtsideLeaks, your home for the accuracy. About the WNBA headlines.